Hi, thank you for giving this opportunity to me to speak with you today. My name is Ambaree, and I am a member of the Rotary Club of Marina City, Singapore, District 3310. I'm also a member of the Plant Rich Diet Task Force under the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, or SRAG. Today, I'm here to invite all of you to a very special, one of a kind challenge that our team has organized for you. It is called the Global 15-Day Plant Rich Diet Challenge. But before I tell you more about it, I'd like to share with you why we chose to organize this event for Rotarians and the public from around the world. As you may know, industrialized agriculture is a key contributor to global environmental degradation. Our mission is to inspire people around the world to adopt a diet that will reduce their carbon footprint, promote global environmental sustainability, and improve human health. That diet is a plant-rich diet. We envision a world where Rotarians are leading a global food system transformation to protect and preserve our planet. I'd like to bring your attention to the latest report that the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, or IPCC, released in August this year. It is the most advanced climate report that highlights the dire state of the current climate situation and why time is running out faster than it was predicted in earlier findings. What stands out in this assessment report 6 is the starkest warning yet by scientists about the absolute urgency with which we need to substantially bring down the global methane emissions if we want to halt the speed with which we are rushing to a climate catastrophe. So why this sudden emphasis on methane, and why is it relevant here? So methane basically is a greenhouse gas that has a heating potential 80 times more than carbon dioxide. And one of the major contributors of methane emissions is industrialized animal agriculture, meaning the more livestock we have on the planet, the more methane gets emitted into our atmosphere. Again, you might wonder how significant a methane contributor is, the animal agriculture sector, after all, in comparison to other sectors like fossil fuels. Let me explain. Here is a study that shows that the top 5 meat and dairy companies combined emit more greenhouse gases than many leading fuel companies. These companies export meat and dairy products all over the world. This study is done by the Institute for Agriculture and Trade Policy, and the findings go to show that we need to tackle industrialized animal agriculture with as much seriousness as fossil fuels, keeping in mind the way in which scientists are urging for an immediate call for action to reduce methane emissions. The IPCC Assessment Report 6 also says with high confidence that limiting global warming to close to 1.5 degrees Celsius or even to 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels will be beyond our reach in the next 2 decades without immediate, rapid, and large-scale reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. Here are some of the snapshots of a few media articles which highlighted methane that were published soon after the report was released in August 2021. The planet is certain to warm by 1.5 degrees sometime in the next 10 to 20 years, accompanied by severe weather extremes, meaning clearly noticeable increases in the intensity and frequency of hot extremes, including heat waves, floods, and droughts. Under these circumstances, this report by IATP again calls out on the methane emissions by the animal agriculture sector. The report emphasizes that stringent methane reductions in the near term are vital to curbing global warming based on what hundreds of scientists from around the world convey through the latest IPCC report. Let me take you through the overall environmental impact that industrialized animal agriculture has on the planet, including commercial fishing, and why it is a leading cause of all the planetary emergencies, including methane, listed on this slide. This chart shows that animal-based foods use up far more of our natural resources to be produced and is more harmful to our climate than plant foods. Per every ton of protein consumed of each of these foods, producing animal-based foods, which are on the right, use far more land, which is the green bar, more water, which is the blue bar, and generate substantially higher greenhouse gas emissions, which is the orange bar, than producing plant foods, which are on the left-hand side. Regarding land use, the global livestock sector uses 83% of the entire world's agricultural land to graze livestock animals and to grow crops to feed the estimated 70 billion land animals that we eat every year. And when it comes to water, over 1 billion tons of animal feed is grown every single year to raise livestock, which puts an immense stress on our freshwater resources. As for greenhouse gas emissions, producing chicken and pork emit about 3 times more greenhouse gases per unit of edible protein than producing legumes, which is a plant source protein, and producing beef emits about 20 times more greenhouse gases. The main reason why food coming from ruminants, which basically include cattle and sheep, which produce meat and dairy, cause such excessive emissions is because they produce methane. Your average ruminant produces 250 to 500 liters of methane every single day. Now let's turn to deforestation. So planting trees or reforestation is critical to addressing climate change, and we know that. However, preventing deforestation of existing forests is even more important because intact ecosystems absorb more carbon from the atmosphere than new forests. Unfortunately, animal agriculture has become the #1 driver of tropical deforestation. Natural habitats of wild animals around the globe are being burnt and cleared for cattle ranching or to grow livestock feed. Tragically, this habitat destruction is decimating populations of many species of wild animals. Coming to our oceans are in big trouble too. The average person now eats almost twice as much seafood as they did 50 years ago. It is estimated that we are pulling over 1 trillion fish out of our oceans every single year, and 94% of our ocean fisheries are now either overfished or maximally fished. Population of sea animals like dolphins, sea turtles, whales, sharks, and stingrays are plummeting, with some of them under the threat of extinction since they get caught in fishing nets, on fishing hooks, or are killed on the decks of fishing vessels. So under these threatening circumstances, according to research and science, as consumers, you and I can still play an instrumental role in reducing the stress that our planet is under to produce food, including methane emissions, by reducing our consumption of animal products. In other words, by eating a plant-rich diet. Let me explain. According to World Resources Institute, reducing consumption of animal-based foods among the world's wealthier populations could free up significant amounts of land, possibly enabling the world to feed 10 billion people in 2050 without agriculture further expanding into forests. World Resources Institute also tells us that if the 2 billion of us high consumers cut our meat and dairy consumption by just 40%, we don't have to give up anything, but if we reduce it by just 40%, we can save an area of land twice the size of India from being destroyed and avoid 168 billion tons of future greenhouse gas emissions. So what is it that we can do? There are many strategies. Here are some relatively easy dietary changes that can yield big environmental results in the long run. For example, you could go meatless 1 day a week or multiple days a week. Make one meal a day 100% plant-based. Swap out cow's milk for a non-dairy milk in your coffee, like soy milk or oat milk, or simply eat a plant-rich or a plant-based meal whenever you can. Plant-rich diets have scientifically been proven to lower the risk of many chronic diseases. Forks Over Knives, which is available on Netflix, is a great documentary about the impact of diet on human health. As much as we are aware of how the current global food systems are causing a massive destruction to our planet, we are equally mindful of the fact that dietary habits are, after all, personal choices that people make on a daily basis. It is important that I mention here that we are not here to make judgments about people's food choices. We are here to help them understand the science that research organizations around the world are establishing about the direct relation that the current dietary consumption patterns have with the well-being of the planet. Plant-rich diet is an effective demand-side solution to the climate crisis, and a global dietary shift towards plant foods that is not centered around meat, dairy, eggs, and seafood is a crucial element in a sustainable lifestyle. Eating a planet-friendly diet is just as much a climate change solution as those related to fossil fuels or plastic pollution, because really the statistics show that they are problems of similar magnitudes. What motivates us to talk about this not so convenient, not so comfortable, but extremely important issue about protecting the environment is the four-way test of Rotary. First, is it the truth? Our answer is absolutely. What we present here is the truth. Is it fair for all concerned? It is probably the fairest deal for all human beings, because this is one effective way in which something as fundamental as global food justice can be attained. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? This movement has the potential to bring the 1.2 million Rotarians together to take action that can change the world, because food connects all of us in different ways, and exploring a new way of eating that is beneficial for the environment and their own health can definitely build great friendships and great relationships. Finally, will it be beneficial for all concerned? The answer to that is it will not only benefit us, but also many, many generations to come. We all share one home. Let's come together to restore our planet starting today by eating more plants and fewer animal products. If you would like to experiment with a plant-rich diet, then please join us for our global challenge starting October 1st. We are going to have a lot of fun offering recipes, cooking demonstrations, live Q&A sessions, and an interesting speaker series. So thank you, and we hope to see all of you at the challenge.